All right, let's dive into something really fascinating today. We're taking a look at this article from Mental Dose called Why You Look Younger Than Your Age: The Surprising Spiritual Secrets Revealed.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, and we're not going to be talking about, skincare routines or anything like that.
Right.
We're going way deeper. We're looking at how our spirit, our inner world, might actually, show up in how youthful we look.
Interesting.
Some people might think this is a little,
Out there.
out there, yeah.
A little woo-woo.
Yeah, but think about it, haven't you ever met someone who just radiates this youthful energy that seems to defy their actual age?
Oh yeah, for sure. It makes you wonder what their secret is.
Right. So the article dives into 8 kind of spiritual reasons why some people seem to age gracefully, and it really makes you think about aging in a whole new way. Okay, so the first point it brings up is this idea of the old soul. It suggests that people who have lived many lifetimes, they carry this deep wisdom and understanding that just kind of shines through.
Makes sense.
But it's not just about, having knowledge, right?
Exactly. It's about how that wisdom shows up in their, way of being. Picture someone who's totally at peace with themselves. They've seen it all, they've learned from it, and they just have this calmness about them that's almost magnetic.
Like they've weathered all the storms so they don't sweat the small stuff.
Right. That inner peace, that lack of resistance, it could totally show up in a more youthful appearance.
So for those of us who, aren't really into the whole past lives thing, can we still tap into that old soul wisdom?
Oh, absolutely. It's about being mindful, being self-aware, and being willing to learn from every single experience, even the tough ones. Letting go of that need to control everything and finding peace in the present moment.
That's a good point. Less stress, maybe fewer wrinkles.
Exactly. Think about it. Stress is like a major contributor to aging. If you can handle life's curveballs with more grace, you might just age more gracefully too.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, the article talks about this other idea, being in tune with what it calls mystical energies.
Okay.
I gotta admit, this one sounds kind of out there, even for me, but I'm curious to get your take on it.
Sure. Well, think about it this way. We're all made of energy, right?
Right.
And we're constantly interacting with the energy around us. Some people are just more sensitive to these subtle energies than others.
Like they have a sixth sense for vibes.
Yeah, kind of. And the article says that people who are in tune with these energies can, choose to align themselves with the positive ones.
So being mindful of the energy you're around and the people you're around.
Exactly. It's like having a radar for good and bad vibes and choosing to hang out in the good vibe zone.
Makes you think about, how you feel after being in nature. You always feel so refreshed and energized.
That's a perfect example. You're literally recharging your batteries with positive energy from the natural world. On the flip side, think about how drained you feel after being around someone who's constantly negative. It's like they suck the energy right out of you.
Oh, yeah, I've totally experienced that. So it's not so much about believing in mystical forces, but more about being mindful of the energy we're putting out there and taking in.
Exactly.
Now, the next point the article makes is about deep empathy and how it might be linked to looking younger. What do you think about that one?
Well, empathy, we usually think of it as like an emotional thing.
Right.
But there's an energetic component to it, too. Empaths are really sensitive to other people's emotions. They absorb them like a sponge.
That sounds intense. Isn't that exhausting, carrying everyone else's feelings around?
It can be. That's why it's so important for empaths to learn how to manage their energy. But this article suggests that this deep connection, this empathy, can actually contribute to a lighter energetic state.
Wait, really? Wouldn't all that negativity make you feel heavier, not lighter?
It's about processing those emotions and letting them go, not letting them fester. Think about it. Holding on to anger or resentment, it's like carrying a heavy weight.
I see. So it's like you put the weight down when you process those emotions in a healthy way.
Exactly. And that feeling of lightness, of not being bogged down by negativity, it could show up in how you look.
Okay, so it's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about dealing with them so they don't, weigh you down.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But wouldn't all that sensitivity be draining for empaths?
It can be, if they don't set boundaries. Part of managing their energy is learning to figure out which emotions are theirs and which belong to someone else.
So it's about being compassionate without taking on everyone else's problems.
Right. It's about finding that balance, being open and receptive, but not getting overwhelmed.
Okay, I'm definitely going to have to think about that one some more. The fourth point the article talks about is inner wisdom, which seems kind of connected to that old soul idea, don't you think?
Yeah, I see a connection there. Inner wisdom is about really understanding yourself and the world around you. It's about seeing the bigger picture and not getting caught up in the little dramas.
Right. It's like having that inner compass that guides you through tough times. But how do we actually get that inner wisdom? Is it something we're born with, or do we develop it?
A little bit of both, I think. Some people seem to have a natural knack for introspection and self-awareness, while others have to work at it a little harder.
But you can develop it.
Yeah, the good news is it's a skill you can definitely cultivate. Practices like mindfulness, meditation, self-reflection, those can really help.
So this inner wisdom, this ability to see things from a higher perspective, could be what gives some people that ageless quality.
Totally. When you're not constantly reacting to every little thing, when you have that inner peace and stability, it radiates outward. And that radiance can be super youthful.
It's not about erasing wrinkles, it's about cultivating a presence that just goes beyond physical appearance.
Right. It's like they've tapped into a source of peace that keeps them grounded no matter what's going on around them.
Okay, let's move on to number 5. This one's about kindness and compassion. Seems pretty straightforward, but how does the article link that to looking younger?
Well, think about it. When you're kind and compassionate, you're putting out positive energy. And that has a ripple effect. It benefits the person you're being kind to, but it also comes back to you.
So like what goes around comes around, you put out kindness and you get kindness back.
Exactly. It's a cycle of positivity. But also think about the physical effects of negativity. When you're angry or resentful, your body releases stress hormones that can speed up the aging process.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, it's like constantly carrying around this toxic weight. But when you experience positive emotions like kindness and compassion, your body releases different hormones, ones that relax you, reduce stress, even boost your immune system.
Wow. So it's not just about feeling good, it's about literally changing your body chemistry. Okay, ready for number 6. This one is adaptability and resilience.
This one really highlights the importance of going with the flow. Life throws curveballs.
Right.
The people who can adapt and bounce back, they tend to be more resilient, both mentally and physically.
Makes sense. The article uses this analogy of water flowing around obstacles.
Perfect analogy. Instead of letting those obstacles break you, you learn to flow around them.
Instead of hardening you, they just shape you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that ability to bend without breaking, that's so youthful. Think about kids. They're naturally adaptable.
Yeah.
They fall down, they get right back up. Somewhere along the way, a lot of us lose that natural resilience. We get rigid, set in our ways.
And that shows up in our bodies as well as our minds.
Absolutely. When you're constantly resisting change or holding on to tension, it manifests physically.
Yeah.
You get chronic pain, bad posture, and yeah, you might even age faster.
So it's about being flexible in our bodies and in our minds.
Exactly. And that willingness to embrace change can help us get through life's ups and downs a lot easier.
Makes sense. Okay, we've got 2 more. Number 7 is all about having a positive spirit. It's kind of obvious that positive people have a certain glow about them, but what's the deeper connection here?
Well, the article says that a genuine smile can actually erase years from your face.
Really? So smiling more will make me look younger.
There's obviously a metaphorical element to that, but there's also some truth to it. Studies have shown that your facial expressions can affect your mood and even how old people perceive you to be.
Interesting.
When you smile, your brain releases endorphins. Those make you feel good, and they can even relieve pain.
They're like natural painkillers.
Exactly. And when you're happy and relaxed, it shows on your face. You radiate a more youthful energy.
So it's not about faking it, it's about cultivating genuine joy.
Exactly. And that inner joy, it shines through in a way that nothing else can.
I love that. Okay, last one. I have a feeling this one is going to be a biggie. Number 8, higher purpose.
Yeah, that one really gets to the heart of things. It's about feeling like your life has meaning. A reason for being, beyond just going through the motion.
Like you were put here to do something.
Exactly. And the article says that feeling, that sense of purpose, can actually give you a more youthful energy and make you look younger.
Wow. So it's not just about finding your passion, it's about living it.
Yes.
Wow.
When we're living in alignment with our purpose, we tap into this powerful source of energy. It gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning. It fuels your creativity. It inspires you to keep growing.
Yeah.
And that vitality, that passion for life, it's incredibly youthful.
It's like our purpose becomes this fountain of youth that keeps us going. But, what about those of us who are still figuring out what our purpose is?
It's a journey. Everyone's is different.
Yeah.
But it often starts by asking yourself some big questions. What are you passionate about? What do you want to leave behind in the world? What brings you joy?
It's like you have to go on a quest to find it.
In a way, yeah. And maybe the answers to those questions will lead you to something you're meant to do, something that gives your life meaning.
And helps us age gracefully, both inside and out.
Absolutely. Welcome back. We've been talking about this idea that spirituality might play a role in how we age.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff. And kind of a different way of looking at aging than we're used to.
Totally. It's like we're so focused on the external stuff, creams and procedures and all that.
Right, like we're trying to fight aging.
Exactly.
Okay.
But this article suggests that true youthfulness, it comes from somewhere much deeper. Like it's more about who you are than what you look like.
I like that. It feels more empowering too, like we have more control than we think we do.
Right. It's not all about genetics or whatever the latest trend is. It's about making choices that nurture our whole selves, mind, body, and spirit.
Okay, so let's get practical. How do we actually, live these principles? The article doesn't really give a step-by-step guide, but it does offer some clues. Remember that point about being attuned to mystical energies? How do we even start tapping into that?
Well, it starts with just being more aware of yourself and what's going on around you. Have you ever walked into a room and just felt like the energy shifted? Like maybe it felt tense or maybe it felt really welcoming.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like when you walk into a party and you can just tell if people are having a good time or if they're just putting on a show.
Exactly. That's your intuition picking up on the energy there. And once you start noticing those subtle cues, you can make choices about what kind of energy you want to be around.
So it's about tuning into our own energy and the energy of other people. But how do we actually, choose to align with those positive forces?
It can be simple things, like choosing to be around people who lift you up, doing things you enjoy, or spending time in nature.
Speaking of nature, have you ever noticed how a walk in the woods or by the ocean just completely changes your mood?
Absolutely. That's because you're literally bathing in positive energy from the natural world. It's like a reset button for your mind and body. The article also talks about things like meditation and yoga, which can help you become more energetically balanced.
Makes sense. Those practices are all about getting quiet and going inward. And speaking of going inward, the article also talked about letting go of anger and resentment. How does holding on to all that negativity affect our energy and how we age?
Well, when you're stressed or angry, your body goes into fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
Your heart races, your muscles tense up, your body releases all these stress hormones. And if you're in that state all the time, it wears you down. It's like you're constantly under attack.
No wonder it ages us.
Right. It's like carrying around a heavy weight. And forgiveness is like setting that weight down.
But forgiveness can be so hard, especially when someone's really hurt you.
Oh, absolutely. It's a process. It takes time. It starts with acknowledging the pain, allowing yourself to feel it. But it's also about realizing that holding on to the anger, it hurts you more than anyone else. There's that saying, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Wow, that's a powerful image. So forgiveness is really about taking care of ourselves.
Exactly. It's not about condoning what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of carrying all that negativity.
Yeah.
And when you let go of that, you create space for more positive emotions like compassion, gratitude, joy. And that ripples out, it affects everyone around you.
I love that. It's like you're breaking a chain of negativity and starting a new one, a positive one.
Exactly.
So we've talked about awareness, letting go of negativity, and forgiveness. What are some other ways we can actually put these ideas into practice?
Well, the article emphasizes cultivating those qualities that support well-being. Gratitude, joy, compassion, a sense of purpose. And these aren't just fluffy ideas. They're things you can actually practice every day. Like keeping a gratitude journal, doing acts of kindness, anything that brings you joy. Little things can make a big difference.
So it's about making conscious choices, even small ones, that add up over time.
Exactly. And it's like tending a garden. When you take care of your inner world, it naturally starts to bloom outward. It changes how you look, how you feel, how you interact with the world.
It's interesting. We usually think of beauty as this external thing. But what if true beauty comes from within? It's about radiating the light that comes from living a life that's true to yourself.
I think you're right. Maybe it's not about erasing wrinkles, but about cultivating that inner radiance that goes way beyond what you see in the mirror.
And maybe that's the real key to aging gracefully.
Maybe so. Speaking of which, I want to circle back to that idea of higher purpose. We touched on it earlier, but I think there's so much more to explore there.
Yeah, absolutely. That one really resonated with me. It's something a lot of people are searching for, that sense of purpose. We've been talking about some really interesting ideas about spirituality and aging and how they all connect.
Yeah, definitely some food for thought.
And right before the break, we were talking about this whole concept of living a life of purpose.
Right. That feeling like you're here for a reason.
And it's something that seems to resonate with a lot of people.
It really does, doesn't it? Like this deep yearning to feel like our lives have meaning. Something beyond just the day-to-day stuff.
Totally. And what I found fascinating is that the article suggests this sense of purpose could actually affect how we age, how we look.
It's like that inner fulfillment kind of spills over into our outer appearance.
Exactly. So it's not just about feeling good on the inside, but that actually radiating outward.
Right. Think about people who are super passionate about their work or some cause they believe in. They often have this, spark about them.
They have that glow.
Yeah. It's like they're truly engaged with life, and that keeps them looking and feeling vibrant.
But what about those of us who are still trying to figure out what our purpose is? Does that mean we're, doomed to age faster?
Not at all. The cool thing is that the journey itself, that search for purpose, can be rejuvenating too. Exploring your passions, trying new things, it's exciting.
So even just the act of searching can have a positive effect.
Exactly. You're constantly learning and growing, and that can definitely keep you feeling young.
That makes me feel better. But how do we even begin to figure out what our purpose is? It feels kind of overwhelming sometimes.
No, it's a process of self-discovery, and it's different for everyone. But you can start by asking yourself some questions like, what brings you joy? What are you naturally good at? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world?
So it's about looking inward and really getting to know ourselves.
Exactly. And maybe the answers will lead you to something you're meant to do, something that gives your life meaning.
And maybe helps us age gracefully along the way.
Right. And it doesn't have to be this big, huge, world-changing thing either. It could be being a great friend, a loving parent, volunteering in your community.
It's about those things that light you up, that make you feel like you're making a difference in any way you can. This whole conversation has really changed how I think about aging. It's not just about looking younger, it's about embracing life, finding joy, and finding that purpose that keeps us going.
It really is about so much more than just the physical, isn't it? It's about taking care of ourselves on all levels, mind, body, and spirit.
Exactly. And realizing that real beauty goes way deeper than what we see on the surface.
It's about radiating that light that comes from living a life that's true to you, true to your values.
And that kind of beauty, it just keeps getting brighter over time.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And as we wrap up today's deep dive, maybe take a moment to think about this. What's one small change you can make today to bring more peace, more purpose, more joy into your life?
That's a great question for all of us to ponder. It could be starting a gratitude practice, spending time in nature, connecting with someone you love. Even small things can make a difference.
Absolutely. It's all about taking those small steps, those little acts of self-care that add up to a more fulfilling life. And as you nourish yourself, you naturally share that light with the world around you.
And that's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.